Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. We are going to make another video about Trump saying he may run for a third time, but this time listening to our ladies from The View discuss the potential and possibilities. Either way, I think we're around 335 subscribers to our channel so far. I would love to be around 500 before Memorial Day weekend. And I think it's really a help to say, one, you like the content, you want to help support and help the channel grow. I'm not trying to sell you anything yet, but if you need some lobbying services, I may put a link in the description below. Either way, I want to appreciate you for subscribing and being a fan and supporter of the channel so far. I know that it's tough being a lobbyist and trying to build in the content creation schedule and have relevant content, whether it's press conferences from the president or new laws or just my thoughts on something that's happening that people may not be discussing, right? I think it's good to educate people, and building a community of people who will be educated about not only how to impact policy, but how to change policy, how to impact laws and things of that nature will be key. But either way, we'll make a quick adjustment here, and then we'll get into the video. I think that's good. We'll get into the interview or the views points on President Trump considering running for a third term. I did have another video that I'll share where I did kind of highlight it would decouple and break every kind of term limit that we have across the country so far, from school boards to locals to state electoral bodies, assemblies, whatever it may be. There will be no need to have a term limit again. But I don't think that Republicans would get to a point of saying, you know what, we need to just like carte blanche, give whoever's a leader full access to serve as long as they want to serve, because he may be 80 plus by the time the next election gets here. And a run against Obama may not be bad, but do we need people over 75, 80 if they're supposed to be in retirement age running our country? Because clearly, as we see, if Elon Musk is out there being the vice president of the United States currently, or vice president acting, or whatever he is, it'll be interesting to see what the next election could be. Either way, let's get into this interview, this conversation with the ladies on The View.
Because in an interview with NBC's Christian Welker yesterday, you know who said he's not ruling out the possibility of running for a third term, saying, I'm not joking. There are methods which you could do it with. How? And reporters asked him more about it later on Air Force One. Take a look.
You said you were not joking about a third term, about possibly wanting a third term. Does that mean you're not planning to leave office on January 20th?
I'm not looking at that, but I'll tell you, I have had more people ask me to have a third term, which is in a way a fourth term, because the other election, the 2020 election was totally rigged.
The Constitution limits a president to 2 terms. Is it your understanding that they have to
I
be?
don't even want to talk about it. I'm just telling you, I have had more people say, please run again. They said, we have a long way to go before we even think about that.
Let me pause it there. Now, I'm going to take, as they say, I'm taking him at his word here, right? He didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He's saying people are asking him, right? And I can kind of see from the words, because it's my first time actually seeing that portion there. I see it, but I don't see it. Because people are asking him, you should do it. Well, how are you going to do it? We're going to change the Constitution. How are we going to change the Constitution? We're going to get all these states to... No. None of that shit's going to happen. Let's get out of the nonsense. Let's get out of our feelings for real. None of this shit's going to happen. Right? You can tell Whoopi, hey, third term, baby. I don't see it. Only because the American people aren't going to go for it. This is another distraction until next week. It's Monday. We're talking about a third term. By Thursday, we'll be talking about Ukraine and some Russia shit again, or Israel and Palestine, or something else, right? Or even the Smithsonian and African American Museum. There's so much movement happening. So much news. You cannot honestly sit here and keep up. So this third term is just going to be like, yeah, this is just another layer of the cake. We got a 7-layer cake for our 8 years in office. And it's just be a layer that we just distract people with, because we can talk about everything else and do everything else and run another executive order for something else. And all of a sudden, nobody knows what the fuck's going on. That's the problem. But to his point, I do believe people are asking him to run for a third term. You know why? Because the Republicans don't have nobody else that can win like Trump can. He set a bar, right? I could say Trump running again could be no bullshit. Think about this. What if it's a shot to keep DeSantis out from running? Because he wants to put his wife in as governor of Florida, which will keep the name relevant. Then he can run for president and his wife is the governor of Florida, right? That's a lot of power. It could be a point of saying, you know what, Ron, if you keep pushing my buttons, we don't want you in. So it could be a death blow to DeSantis for real. If you think about the chessboard, think about it, right? He could be saying like, you know what, cool, no, I'm only doing this because we're going to keep Ronnie out from ever running for for president, right? And that alone will be strong enough to fuck DeSantis up. And then the Democrats will sit here like, yeah, we're going to run somebody or run anybody because we probably ain't going to win for real. I'm going to go out, say y'all cheated, and sail back to the Trump Tower. But it could be a point of saying, like, hey, we're just going to keep DeSantis out. Like, this just, you got to think about that. Nobody else, who is thinking that? We're going to fuck Ronnie up. Go ahead, put your wife in. Because if your wife beats Byron Donalds, I'm going to make sure we change the Constitution and you're never going to be able to run for president. And then we're just going to get Casey out of there soon. It's Game of Thrones.
Is he actually planning on this, or is this just another way to take the headlines away from all the other messes his administration is actually dealing with?
I told you.
Well, you know,
it's a distraction.
I actually think that he is so enamored of Putin and so enamored with power that he wouldn't mind being king, you know, with the crooked crown. I don't know that it's something that can ever be accomplished because we know that FDR historically had 4 terms. And so they ratified the 22nd Amendment in 1951, making sure that a president could only run 2 terms, consecutively or non-consecutively. So in order to really legally do this, he would probably have to change the 22nd Amendment, and you would need like 34 states, 3/4 states to ratify that. So I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Right.
That doesn't mean he's not going to try.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's simple stuff to be like, you know what? Sometimes you hear nonsense and you think it through politically. And Sonny had a great point here to highlight. If you're going to change that, you're going to need 34 states. Now, there are a lot of Republican states out there. There are a lot of Republican state legislatures out there, right? I don't think they'll all be on board to do it, right? Because again, it would basically say we're going to no term limits on the federal level. You can serve up to 4 terms, whatever, right? Never, whatever. You got to take them out of your state too. And at that point, that means that that governor that's in that office can sit forever. That state house, that state senate, those mayors, those city council members, everybody can sit forever. You think 34 states going to do that in 2024, 2025? No, I don't see it. And that's why it's like, you know what? Yeah, Project 2025, this is part of it. This ain't winning, baby. I'm telling you now.
Look, you know, no matter how insane, stupid, harebrained, and lawless I think something he says might be, I have learned the lesson of taking him seriously.
Yes.
But what was interesting is this was a hot topic for all of us, and none of us picked it this morning because we're all on to him. He is the distractor in chief. And so he doesn't want us to keep talking about Signalgate, which is a real threat to national security. And every day, more details are revealed that show us how incompetent and reckless his national security team is. He doesn't want us to talk about the way he is tanking the stock market with his imbecilic tariffs. What he's calling Liberation Day should be called Hypertension Day, because it's going to give us all a heart attack. He doesn't want us to talk about Andriy, The 30-year-old gay hairdresser, Venezuelan, who without any due process, just because he had a tattoo that said mom with a crown and dad with a crown, was grabbed and disappeared to the hellhole in El Salvador. He doesn't want us to be talking about any of those things.
Yeah.
And he wants us to be talking about this.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't
You know, I'll be honest with you. I haven't heard that story yet. I think there's so much news and so many distractions out there that I haven't heard that, but I think that was some of the biggest fears that a lot of people did say, is that there are people who actually here who will get caught up in deported or sent to these places. And I'm gonna have to look more into the story, because it's kind of sad to say, like, damn, somebody got caught up in sent to El Salvador's prison to probably never be seen again, because they're making hand over fist of money for jailing the illegal immigrants or the people that are being deported from America to this high structure prison. No daylight, maybe what, 30 minutes a day. It's different to say that. I get it. If you're American, I'm not going to no other country to be in jail. That's fucking crazy. I didn't do anything heinous, right? However, it's kind of crazy for us to catch somebody here and send them, basically mail them somewhere else and say, yeah, this is y'all problem now. Y'all take care of it. And they're making hand over fist in a whole nother country's jail. I'll tell you what, Brittany Griner will tell you, you don't want to be in another country's jail. The Olympians that busted up that gas station years ago, not Michael Phelps, but the other guy, I think he was from Florida. Y'all don't want to be in another country's jail. So I would be crazy if I was Hispanic, Latino, Latinx descent, whichever respectfully it may be considered these days, and then caught here in America and sent to another country to be in jail, who may not like people from my country in general. Crazy. Let's get back to this View interview, man.
I think he likes that behind closed doors, supposedly, J.D. Vance and some others called for Waltz to be removed due to this action. They also have some new reporting coming out in the Wall Street Journal today that there were more conversations that were potentially confidential happening on this Signal app. So I do think the distraction is big, but I would also just warn that the more important thing before any attempt at rewriting our Constitution would be the local elections that happen before then. And so it's easy to kind of be distracted by what he throws out there, but there are some really pivotal elections happening. And
What do you mean?
One of the reasons they pulled Elise Stefanik's name out is there was going to be a delay in her seat, and they didn't want to lose the House. So there's stuff happening on the ground, and Republicans have proven to be ahead of that. They're more of chess players. So I would make sure that Democrats don't get distracted by the crazy, and they keep their eyes on the ground, the local elections.
That is so true. I agree with that wholeheartedly, right? For Democrats that are out there, there are elections that are happening. People are getting the messages out there. But the main distractions, the people that are getting people boiled up, this isn't it. If you know someone that lives in the area, Democrats, speaking to Democrats only here, if you know someone that lives in an area like, hey, you live in Wisconsin, you live in Pensacola, you live in some area where there's going to be a special election, what are you voting for? And you think it's crazy? I was literally at a bar this weekend. I went to the beach. Went to go get some food for the family because we're having a little picnic on the beach or whatever. And the guy was like, yeah, you know, I'm from Alabama. I'm planning on running for mayor here. Good old boy, right? Restaurant, good living. Say, you know what? I'm conversational. I'm a people person, right? So we're talking and we're having a good old conversation. And he basically says, you know, hey, anytime you want to come up here to Alabama, man, you can have a good old time, man. We got up here from Huntsville, man. I had a good old time. I said, man, I'll be there, man. Next time I'm up in North Alabama, I'm going to make sure I swing through your city, mayor. And he told me basically he plans on running for mayor. And the things that are happening there, you know, whatever, in the city, 65% black and all these other places, and he would just love the opportunity to serve the city because he's open. I get it, but guess what? You have to educate the people on when the election is. It's like I had to educate him. Like, listen, I can be a black guy that looks like a Democrat, but I have good Republican friends, especially in this city, whatever city I go to, most likely, right? However, there's a point of saying you got to pay attention because people may think tomorrow's April Fool's Day, but tomorrow's election day too. So some people will be fooled and say, ha ha, they think it's an election today, then wake up on Thursday like, wait, there was an election this week? Yes. The balance of power is always at stake. Are you paying attention is the biggest thing. But let's get back to this interview with The View.
That really change things.
I will say shout out to Louisiana. Shout out to Louisiana because Louisiana had a special election this weekend, and all 4 of these proposed amendments died. died there. And so Louisiana came out, the Black community really came out, 37% early voting. Shout out to Cliff Albright for organizing on the ground there. So I think Sarah's right. The local elections are really where it's at right now.
Well, I think everybody's aware. God knows they've been given enough information of what.
See, but here's the thing with local elections. Let's be real, right? There's a conversation happening in Florida right now to decrease or eliminate property taxes and sales tax, excuse me, right? There's a point of saying the Republicans are realizing the Democrats are winning a lot of local elections. What's the best way we can cash strap these areas? What's the best way we can put the pain on the Democrats and point the fingers at them on why these issues are a problem, right? We remove the property taxes. If we remove the property taxes, a lot of these Democratic cities may lose a lot, maybe 20, 30% of their operating budget, which means that they're going to have to be in a situation where they're operating, working for damn near free, or they increase taxes to offset the loss they're having from property tax losses. If you don't believe me, go ask some city commissioners, right? If you don't believe me, go ask some school district leaders who are sitting here who may have to decide, like, listen, hey, if they decouple the Department of Education, all these things don't happen, we may have to increase the millage to offset some of the costs of these things. Not everything, but some. Those are the conversations that are happening. So yes, all elections are happening. All elections are local, but at the same time, you need to pay attention because you will feel the biggest brunt and impact of this because you're going to be paying the cost of it. And even though, again, a lot of elections are local to the point, and a lot of Democrats end up winning a lot of these local seats. When you have a situation like Chicago, sanctuary city, where they want to go against the federal government and all these different things, that's when it starts to blow the gasket to say, you know what, how can we cripple these areas? How can we take the property taxes away from these cities, cash trap their budgets, save the taxpayers' money, because this is one of their biggest expenses, but at what detriment to the city? Because even if it's not coming out of your property itself, you may feel it in other things. It could be your sewage and your water tax. It could be your gas tax. It could be your oil tax. It's going to be felt somewhere. Because just like these tariffs, the burden of debt or the burden of whatever the fuck it costs is going to be passed on to somebody. Either way, let's get back to this.
What to do, but you haven't said anything.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, the 22nd Amendment is no joke. And even if you somehow were to bypass the constitutional process and try to run again, there's just no evidence I see that Donald Trump is going to leave in 4 years at 82, so popular that the public's like, never mind, let's keep him another 4 years. Yeah. That's just not what we do in America. We tend to be change elections in a change electorate. But I do think that he's got this way of dangling things like this out there like catnip so that certain corners of the media bite on it and they cover it. And I saw this leading a lot of networks today. Yeah. Instead of the fact that in 48 hours, tariffs are going to go into effect that are going to cost all of us a lot of money. I've got a graphic I want to pull up. This is Fox News. 69% of Americans believe that tariffs are going to make the cost of goods more expensive. And a plurality of economists, left, right, and center agree. It is really a small fringe minority that says this is going to bring down consumer costs. Yeah. And that's what he was elected on. He was not elected to take Greenland. He was not elected to take Canada.
This is facts. This is facts. I think a lot of people will feel the brunt of this in the next few weeks and months. However, there's a strong part of Americans and people that are like, you know what, hey, we're going to trust Trump because we like him better with the economy and numbers based on his brand. We live in a brand society. You can't tell me that. Like social media influencers today, they're getting deals and marketing you off the base of their brand, how strong their brand is to influence you as your consumer, the demographic. Like, damn, when did they start marketing for Temu and Shein? Shit. Because Temu and Shein realize that you're a part of the brand that they want to talk to. So they got to talk to the brands that you connect with. It all plays in together. But people voted into that brand belief of saying, you know what, business-wise, we see the cost of stuff going up. Biden's a career politician. Kamala Harris is a former state attorney, former elected official, U.S. senator as well, vice president. She don't know shit about creating a job. She's talking about the people who lived in a bodega downstairs and understand their family, whatever the fuck that means. But it gets to a point of saying people trusted Trump to say, you know what, these tariffs, you're talking about it. You want us to buy more Fords? Fuck it. We're going to buy a Ford. Cool. The price of Honda's probably about to be $75,000 for an Accord these days. It's okay. We can buy American made, right? But the cost of everything else that's going to fluctuate and impact us, that's the thing that, like they say, like she said, a sliver of people who are like, listen, we trust Trump with the economy for real. They're the ones who got it. They made millions off YouTube before you even knew what a search engine optimization was, right? So they're not going to be the ones to feel it because they can afford an extra $20,000, $30,000. They don't want to pay it, but shit, okay, luckily it's there. This is generational for them. They're not selling any property to get by. It's everyone else who's going to feel this shit. And I hate to say it that way because we're going to feel it on April Fool's Day, but this election is going to be telling, especially when people go from the grocery store tonight to the or this past weekend into the election booth Tuesday. They're going to be voting their damn pockets, be like, listen, it's been 60 days, motherfucker been in office. People get fired on probationary fucking jobs, bitch. What you talking about? People get fired in the first 90 days, dog. They're not going to vote Trump out. They're going to be like, you know what? Hey, yeah, I'm off this shit. Because nothing changed. And they're feeling it because guess what? Maybe they were part of the Doge movement that took away some of their jobs. That's going to be the most telling shit. The areas that Doge impacted the most with these elections on April Fool's Day, with the tariffs, we're going to see what shit is come Memorial Day weekend. If people not traveling this summer, that's going to be felt. But either way, let's get back into the view.
Canada and make it the 51st state. It was to bring down the cost of living because everything's too expensive for Americans. So if he keeps going the way he is, I don't think we even have to worry about this because I don't think people are going to be interested in a further time. But I think if I'm J.D. Vance, who thinks, oh, I'm the heir apparent, I'm going to be the next Republican presidential candidate, I'd be like, oh, this is a little insulting. Like, he's just, oh, he is not teeing it up for me. He's giving me the worst jobs to do.
Can you guys remember when Republicans used to say that at 82, Joe Biden was too old to run?
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, when we look at Donald Trump, we all think picture of great health. He really is going to be doing great at 82. He's actually going to be older than Joe Biden. He's going to be the oldest president at 82 and 7 months when he leaves office than anybody.
The only benefit to that would be if J.D. Vance sits behind Elon Musk for the next 3.5 years and Trump puts out a bad debate performance as bad as Joe Biden and he has to resign, then the Republicans have to go to the convention and say, okay, are we going to elect Elon Musk or J.D. Vance? And J.D. Vance gets a nomination, and we sit here like, damn, who the fuck has J.D. Vance been for the past 3.5 years? And then the Democrats have somebody on the other side, not Michelle Obama, whoever, to basically say, you know what, damn, look what the fuck we did in Maryland. Look what we did in Pennsylvania. Look what we did in shit. Who do the Democrats have? Because it can't be Gavin Newsom. I'm over the Gavin Newsom shit, right? But who are they going to have to say? Is it Raphael Warnock? John Ossoff? Who else can really carry the torch? Because that is the main part the Democrats going to actually have to decide as well. But I don't feel like watching the rest of this View interview. I think I made some of the points that they ended up saying as well. So we're kind of on the same thing. So the View needs to invite me on. Make sure y'all tag them in the comments. Either way, thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. It is your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. Going to try to knock out some more content and just have something that's relevant for the people. But either way, thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. That's it.